Okay guys, so in this video I'm going to talk about outbound logistics and questions to guide through the decision is if a company has to deal with where and what to do in terms of their start, they of course need to focus on a number of examples, but in a way, where to keep stock, who should distribute, when to distribute, and how to distribute. Distribution management is the management of planning, execution, and control of transporting goods to customers. Inventory management in outbound logistics, management and control of inventory of finished goods. So when you have the stock of finished good, how are you going to manage it? What are you going to send out first, etc., etc. For example, if you work with for Arla in their distribution center, you want to send out the milk at the right date, at the right time, etc., so that it follows up on that. Let's start with the case. That's case you're gonna work on in class about within a day. Inventory structure. How many warehouses and where are they located? 4 different storage structures that we're going to talk about in this case. One of them is the own warehouse, where the company owns its own warehouse and distributes from there. One of them is terminals. One of them is warehouse facilities where you rent it. Another one is distribution centers. Okay, owned warehouse, centralized versus decentralized structure. In the centralized structure, you have here the central storage, and then you have the customers here. That can be an example of that. Could be Rema 1000, for example. They have a centralized storage in Horsens, from where they bring out or send out all their goods to all the Rema 1000 around the countries. Then we have the other one with the decentralized, where you have the central storage, and then we have the decentralized storage here. Then we have the customers here. That of course makes it easier for companies to, for example, if we're dealing with a structure, a warehouse structure in a larger country, it can be difficult to get everything from point A to point B. For example, to get products from Flensborg to Munich each day could be a logistic nightmare for many. In Denmark, it might not be the biggest problems to get products from Horsens to Copenhagen each day. That's easy enough, but in larger countries, it actually can create some issues. Other storage options: inventory stock hotels. A stock hotel is a place where companies can get your goods stored instead of having its own facility. That's kind of where you that's other companies that actually have a business of providing a service to companies of that. A stock hotel may be beyond the storage, also offer, for example, packaging and repackaging, quality control, transportation to and from warehouse, and preparation of transports documents. So they can kind of offer the full service. This can be attractive for companies that might not be centrally located in Denmark or in other European countries, to have someone actually take care of that. In a way, you can actually find companies providing all kinds of services, so that you don't have to necessarily do it yourself. Terminals and distribution centers, temporary storage that companies can use to repackage, etc. Distribution center, an area with a concentration of stock hotels, terminal distributors, etc. Many companies use these services. The benefit of these services is it's professional managed, and it's managed by companies that specialize in this. So in that way, you can actually buy a service that is better than what you can expect from creating it yourself. If, for example, your need is not as particular as or is not beyond the need of sending a few packages out each week, it can actually be beneficial not to invest in a storage location yourself, but have other people do it. Choosing between own or external distribution, it's again the make or buy strategy that you have to look into. Of course, this can vary, because sometimes it might actually be beneficial to do it yourself, but in many cases, choosing between own or external distribution, make or buy, Comparing the total cost of own distribution to total cost of external distribution. Own distribution variable and capacity cost. External distribution variable cost. Break even. Capacity cost of own distribution divided with the saving of variable cost with its own distribution. See example in the VU book. The main thing is, okay, how much should we actually make on this, or how much should we actually use on this before it can break even financially. Then there's a task here that you should look at where you use the break-even break-even calculations here. Modes of transport, 4 modes of transport, rail, road transport, air transport, and sea transport. Rail transport, as it says itself, it's easily useful when large volume of goods transported over long distances. It's a slow mode of transportation. Road transport, goods can be delivered door to door. Large supply resistance, express over short distance. Very well. Many companies use this form of transportation. Air transport, fast and safe mode of transport, suitable for transporting goods of relatively high value and low volume, but of course it's an expensive mode of transport. Ship transport, suitable for international transport and large volume of goods over long distance, depending on the other modes of transport before and after. Distribution management, factors that determine the choice of transport: packaging cost, shipping cost, cost of storage, insurance cost, interest, expensive, total distribution cost. So I kind of have to look into all of these in terms of deciding what to do, because factors that determine choice of transport. But of course also it depends on the certain situation, because with some things it might not be financially liable, but still it's important to get the products over as fast as possible. Therefore, sometimes air transport is used even though it doesn't make financial sense. But that's business also. Business isn't always about the right choice, the most financial right choice. Sometimes it's also about the strategic right choice. Total distribution cost is a formula called TDC formula. TDC, transportation cost plus value multiplied with transportation time divided with 360 multiplied with stock interest. To choose between different transport forms, the choice is often based on price and speed of transport, as I also said before. The choice is often between a slow and a cheap transportation, and quick and costly transport. An example here. A company has 2 alternative ways of transporting a bag of goods, namely transport by shipping or by air. The 2 types of transport there are following information. Transportation cost by ship, 10,000 kroner. Transportation time, 30 days. Transportation cost by air, 25,000. Transportation time, 6 days. Value of shipment goods, 2.4 million. Stock interest, 10%. Solution transport by ship, TDC equals to 10,000 plus air equals to 30,000 kroner. Transportation by air, TDC equals to 29,000. The best solution is therefore transportation by air. It should make sense, but this is of course also something that we work on here, and also an example that could be used at a potential exam. Own transport versus outsourcing of transport. Choice between distribution made and the use of external buy is a strategic choice. The profitable choice can be illustrated by calculating break-even point for need of transportation. So break-even, if you see here how much you use, own distribution, external transport. So when does it break even? Yes. So please follow